How are you? Good. In the back, yeah. Okay. It's on Washington. Nobody, and I haven't had anybody, administration. We've tried. I know they're in transition too. Right. And they're changing that. So class. I know. You know, it's right there on the corner.
Yeah. Now that I know what we're talking about, yeah,
Right.
I never knew that's what it was called. That would be nice.
No, that's just one.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm like miracles because Miss Evelyn is not Here today.
So she's our co-chair, so
Yeah.
she's doing a great
Okay.
job.
That's great.
So just follow the approval of the minutes. Everybody got a copy of the minutes?
Yes. Yes, we got.
Take a moment to read that.
Yeah.
I already read them, so I'll move to approve.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then all you have to do is,
Okay.
everybody
So
approve.
everybody,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, and we just move on to the agenda here, this one.
Okay. Discuss foster grandparents program.
Maria, you wanna come have a seat here at the table?
Let's see, was she gonna discuss?
Let me sit here in case a member comes.
Can we make introductions first?
Oh yeah, let's do introductions, cause we have new members of the committee. Go ahead.
My name is Gabi Baglietto. I am from Stella Maris. To start official today.
Fantastic.
Okay,
Yeah.
welcome.
Welcome.
I'm not official. I just came to see how come is this working. I'm Maui Benitez and in Federation Tower.
Okay.
So
Great.
I see the sign and everything and I just try to see.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I'm part of the Sister Cities Committee.
Oh, great.
Uh-huh.
Good morning, Gabriel Paez, Hispanic Affairs Committee Chairperson. Here to be a non-voting official member of this committee. As one of your bylaws, I see that we are designated as chair to serve alongside with you guys. So look forward to serving with you guys in my capacity.
And I just noticed that, could you explain a little bit about the Hispanic Affairs Committee and what are their?
So it's on the agenda.
Well, it is on the
Oh, it is on the
agenda.
agenda.
It is on the agenda, so we're, I'll be more than glad to introduce myself at that point and discuss the Hispanic affairs and what we have done in the past, and bring you up to date.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Introduce
So-
yourself.
We're just doing introductions.
Okay, my name is Anila Thomas. I work for Council Powers, but I live in For Freedom House where
Okay.
I'm representing For Freedom.
Okay.
Okay, so I have to.
Dual role.
Work.
We can understand those, yes.
It's at the end there. Her pen I accidentally left.
Diana Fontanis, the staff liaison to the Senior Affairs Committee. I'm also aide to Commissioner Michael Gongor.
Okay, Antonio Sea, I'm the service coordinator for 1040 Collins Avenue, Council Tower North.
Good morning, Oscar Llorente. I'm with Mount Sinai Medical Center. I'm the Community Relations and Outreach Manager.
Patricia Mehas from Prime Seniors of Miami Beach. I'm a member and volunteer.
Okay.
Good morning, Maria Ruiz with the City of Miami Beach.
Okay. Now we can go into the foster grandparents program. Do you want me to introduce it or you wanna go ahead?
You can go ahead and introduce and I can just share what I've read
Okay.
through.
So basically, Commissioner Gongora placed on the March Commission agenda a referral to neighborhoods regarding foster grandparents program. He saw it actually on ABC News, and it's basically a program where you would get seniors, citizens to go to the schools and be foster grandparents to the students. So he thought that was interesting, and he referred it to neighborhoods, and at the commission meeting, one of the commissioners also requested it to come to our committee for us to discuss it. And Maria Ruiz has been assigned to this item, so I asked her to come and see what she thought of the program and some background and how we can maybe pass a motion in support of this, or we'll see after we discuss it. So, Maria?
Good morning. I'm actually pretty familiar with this program because it's a subset program similar to the AmeriCorps, which is a program that's been around for many years that really tries to drive and harness the talent of volunteers to work with a variety of different areas. What is striking about this program is that if you were to start it up on your own, it's a rather expensive program to start. Because not only do you have to obviously outreach and identify the individuals who are going to be your volunteers, you have to conduct criminal background checks, you have to conduct training. Typically, in most of these programs, there's a stipend to cover the cost of being able to come to a location to be able to provide services, uniforms, IDs, things like that. The school board has a volunteer program right now, which would already assume the cost of the background checks and provide the training for volunteers. However, it's not labeled as a foster grandparent program. It is a program that is really geared towards anyone, regardless of age, regardless of circumstance, to be able to volunteer in our schools. What is great about the foster grandparent program is that you're in essence creating a cadre of people within the same age range, same life circumstances, same drive with respect to the amount of time they typically have to give. And you're able to then provide supports for them as well. The idea being, in order for them to be a good support to the community, you give them information about resources and supports that allow them to thrive and to be healthy and to be happy independently. So that's the main distinction between the two programs. What is the big challenge is the startup on a program like this, because it is a considerable amount of time that takes place in identifying and recruiting people, training them, conducting the background checks. In some jurisdictions, they also require a health exam to make sure that whatever the person's going to undertake, they're physically capable to provide that service. So there's that distinction that's made with regards to where you assign someone. If the goal is to increase the number of seniors who are actually participating in our local schools, whether they be as reading companions, school classroom aides, or support, perhaps the school system program will be quicker, because then you already have all of the infrastructure in place, and it's a matter then of us helping to recruit people, of going out, trying to identify potential seniors who would then be willing to, and then you can target it so that you have them go to the school that's closest to where they live. And you help identify, well, how are you going to get there? What are the transportation routes? What are the days and times that also allow the person to thrive accessing city services and at the same time allow them to make contributions to the school? So that perhaps there's a hybrid, maybe something in between, that allows us to increase the total number of seniors, but allows us to make the turnaround time of when you can actually begin services a little faster. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Because I think one of the most rewarding things about this program is it says that even if you're retired, even if you're sitting at home, the truth is you have a lot to give. Can you then give it to where we know that there's a need? And there are some schools that have greater needs for seniors and volunteers than others. For instance, our low-income schools, Biscayne, Feinberg Fisher, those have greater need because there's greater poverty. When there's greater poverty, there tends to be less parental involvement, less opportunity for the children to engage with people who are adults who set role models. So it provides a great opportunity to maybe target the schools that most need the help as well. That's the other benefit of this. But the key is making sure that you provide all the supports so that the person who commits to this, because you're investing a lot in people, just the background check, the recruitment, and the training is a lot. So you want to make sure they stick around. So that's why you try to provide those other supports to make it easier for that person to be involved and easier for them to commit their time.
That's a lot.
Yes.
I know about this program many years ago. It was run by the Miami-Dade County. It was run together with the Senior Companion Program. At this point, the senior that participated in those programs, they had like an stipend. ¿Cómo se dice?
What?
They received like $250 per hour, something like that.
There are stipends
yes.
in some, well, especially if you're either funded through a corporate program or through an AmeriCorps funding grant. Yes, there's stipends that typically go with it.
It's the same?
But correct me if I'm wrong, there's no money tied to this right now.
Not right now.
Right now there's not. So that's the other issue is if you want to be able to provide a stipend as an encouragement for people to continue to participate, that's another factor that would have to be. Dade County Public Schools does not pay their volunteers. So that's the other
Because I
distinction.
know the
that
senior
you have there.
program paid, we couldn't count as an income when there was the recertification program. So that's what.
And again, that under an AmeriCorps service model or a similar, because there's more than one federal grant that could cover a service such as this. They are highly competitive. They are, if you have an opportunity to read through the rules and regulations, it's an extensive commitment. It's a lot of documentation. It's a lot of research to make sure that the person continues to be a viable person. You do in-service trainings even after you've trained, because you want to make sure they don't forget what you trained them. So there's in-service trainings that are part of it. So it can be a very labor-intensive program to run at an ideal level. And again, that's why the goal should be what do we really want to achieve? And then explore what the potential options are to that. Because I do think that there's definitely room in our school system to have more volunteers, especially at our lower performing schools or in our more poverty involved schools. But the key is to make sure that the relationship, that the engagement and the investment is a mutual benefit. The idea is it's got to be just as effective and meaningful for the child as it is for the senior who's committing their time. Which is why it's one of those things that you want to recruit properly, you want to train properly, and then you want to work in conjunction with the school for the matching piece, that you match people properly. So there's factors that really should be considered.
So if we did the partnership with the schools, then there would be no stipend attached to it, correct?
The school do
Right.
not pay for that.
Right.
But they do cover the cost of the background check.
To cover those.
Yeah,
And that the background check's an expensive piece because it has to be a level 2 background check. So they do cover that cost.
Right.
Right.
The good news is that big front end piece, they cover that cost. And that's a requirement. You can't bypass it.
So would the city have to, if we did do the partnership with the schools, would the city have to allocate money for the program? Because I know there's grants involved, but the grants I feel like would take a long time.
They do.
So would it just be like a one-time fee, and then we apply for the grants, or what do you?
Well, it all depends on how many people we're trying to recruit. Because the truth is, when seniors commit a lot of their time, what we're really asking of them is make a commitment. You're going to be making a commitment whether it's 5 hours or 40 hours, because they have to decide at the front end, well, how many hours am I going to put to this, because they have to schedule you. So the truth is you're giving your word, this is what I'm going to give to you. So there is a commitment there. And there are costs, because let's face it, getting on a bus does cost money. Having to wait for that bus to get there, having to wait when you get to the school to be assigned. Those are all factors, and in all fairness, the idea is that you compensate them in some way. In a community-based model, what you're saying is, let me teach you all the resources in the community so that you can access them on your own. That's the low-cost model, which is just to build natural supports for each person who volunteers. In the service model that's used by AmeriCorps, you're paying a stipend, and that stipend typically is close to minimum wage. But it's a way to kind of offset, because they're giving you a labor, you're paying for the labor. That's what it is. If what we're trying to achieve is to make the seniors' lives more meaningful, if what we're looking for is to give them purpose and meaning for them, then that's its own reward. And what you're really looking to do is, can we recruit the people? Can we provide the right supports and training so that they can then go to the school and build a relationship, and then the school takes over? Our job would be identifying, training, and preparing so that we can help the school board on the front end process, because that takes a long time. And we can work in conjunction with the school to maybe pick up some of the trainings, and we could do them ourselves as a way to offset and be able to have a cycle that allows us to be productive year round. So that's one option as well. I think it all comes down to how many people do we realistically think we would be targeting, and how many places will we be deploying them for how long. From there, you can then decide what is the model that works best for what our ambitions are. Because you want to align your ambition to the resources that you can invest to make it a good piece. It's a great idea. I think the idea of, I have a neighbor who just retired, and he's going nuts already. So the truth is to harness that energy, because people live a lot longer and they have lots of energy and they're in really good health for the most part.
Exactly.
To have them feel productive and vibrant and to build a loving relationship with people who need someone who care, that's awesome. And I think there's great room for that. It just comes down to which is the method that makes the most sense with what we have. If we can commit money to it, that would be great, because then you
It's an incentive.
it's an incentive to recruit and to cover the inherent costs that come from volunteering to that extent. Because the one thing the schools will ask is commit to a time. Because if you don't show up, you've disappointed that child. And we don't want that. The whole idea is to build the people, trust that people know, hey, when you give your word, someone's gonna be there as they promised. So the key part is really that commitment piece, and that comes at a cost. That means you're gonna align all your doctor's appointments and everything else to not interfere with your volunteers.
And do you know how long it takes to prepare those people?
It really varies to the extent of the program that you're gonna do. In some cases, they do intensive 4-week trainings to get people up, and but that's for more structured, specific type things. The school board will probably have a different training program depending on how they would use the volunteer. So for instance, if you're going to be a reading partner for a child, they're gonna want you, number one, to read English and have command of the language. But they're also gonna wanna make sure that you're patient. They're gonna wanna make sure that you know how to guide a child, and if a child is skipping over a word or doesn't understand a word, well, what techniques do you use so the child uses phonetics to find the word and then understand the meaning and context so that he can continue to read? That takes a little bit more, because obviously teaching is a little different function. But if you're gonna be helping out in the office, usually you're answering phone calls, making copies, doing some filing. The skill set is a little different. I would imagine that in order to make this really rewarding for everybody, they're probably gonna want to be involved with children. They're probably wanna be a room aide, helping the teacher in the class or things like that, which require just a little more training and a little more skill understanding. But
Is there a level of education that needs to be considered, or?
This is the where it becomes what's the function the person's going to use. If they're going to be doing one-on-one with children, the first thing they're going to say is command of the English language, because most part that's where the children need the most assistance. And then reading comprehension, so it's someone who has the patience to read with a child and not get frustrated or upset if they miss a lot of words, because that's why they're being assigned help, is because they're having difficulty reading. So it's that patience, it's that command of the English language. It's really, as long as you have a command of the 8th grade English, you should be fine in an elementary setting. So you don't need a college education, but you do need foundational English, because you want to reinforce what's being taught at that grade level. And it is rewarding. The school, our city actually started a volunteer program several years ago, trying to get city employees to go to schools for 1 hour a week. And it does. It's very rewarding to help somebody on a level that we don't typically get to do. Being able to see a child, recognizing their mood and their temperament and the feeling that they have, that's awesome. I mean, those of you who are parents, you already know when you help your child, there's no greater feeling in the world than when they say thanks. That's a great feeling, and it's a mutually rewarding one. It really just comes down to what do we want and what's the vehicle that gets us there the fastest. But it's an awesome concept.
How many do you think, like, to start, you know, if we can call it like a pilot program or something, like,
I would
How many
imagine
do you
around
think?
12 gives you a good cadre that, because the other benefit of
so
this,
then it would be like 6 to
Right,
for
because you,
Jane and
it's a number that the schools can manage,
Right.
because you can't overwhelm them with 100 volunteers, because they don't have
No,
the But the idea of having a cadre, also having a group of people that graduate together, is that you also create a social network for them. People that now understand what they're going through, that can go have coffee after work, who can now build friendships that they otherwise wouldn't have if they were just at home and going to the doctor or minding their own. This builds that network of colleagues that now become your natural supports for you, which is what this is about. It's the idea of strengthening a person so that they can stay healthy enough to go help somebody else. And that's the core at the end of the day.
you're not looking to, excuse me. Are you looking to identify solely 12 Because if you're looking for a cadre of 6 and 6, you know, if we give you 12, then some of them might not complete the program or might not want it. So then you're going to have to keep on looking for more.
I'm gonna defer to the commissioner because I think he might have a vision, and I don't wanna step on the vision. So that he might have an idea of the scope and reach that it was going to have. But regardless of the number, there should be a certain degree of fidelity to quality. There should be a certain amount of training, a certain amount of oversight, and a certain amount of support. Whether it's 12 or 1,200, you still need to have the quality supports that allow the program to function effectively, regardless of how you ramp it up. So you have to agree to some core.
How come the people enjoy the volunteer? How come?
You know, I think part of the reason, the biggest impediment is that the school board works with the population that it serves. So it's going to be parents, it's going to be kids, it might be the neighbors of the school. They may not occur to go down to Council Towers or to Federation Towers and say, hey, this is a whole bunch of people who happen to tend to be free during school hours who probably would love this. It's just a matter of just oversight. They don't necessarily recognize the asset that's right down the street from them. And for the most part, schools don't have a whole lot of resources to go outside of campus. They have resources and personnel on campus, but not outside. So that's probably why they're missing out on this opportunity. Now, on the senior side, one of the greatest things that could happen for the longevity of a senior is engagement and socialization.
I know.
True.
I know.
True.
Greatest gifts.
Yeah.
And the truth is that we have a tendency to build the socialization always within the same setting.
Right.
But the truth is, we want to integrate it. We want to have seniors not be only with people of their own age. They should be people with across the age spectrum, across the religious spectrum, across the social spectrum, because that's how you build vitality. And vitality is what leads to happiness, and happiness would lead to good health. All of those are interconnected. So the beautiful part about this is it creates that opportunity for a network of people. Yes, it does. But it also exposes you to teachers and students and parents. That already you have an age spectrum there. Mm-hmm. So it's that ideal opportunity where you actually create an environment that's reciprocal. That's not always an easy thing to do. But a grandparent program does culture a reciprocal environment. And it is a beautiful thing. I think it's a gorgeous thing.
Yeah.
What about the amount? Do you want us to recommend or?
What I would suggest is that we reach out to the principals at Biscayne and Feinberg. Tell them, look, we think that we have an untapped resource in our community, which are these seniors who are looking for something vibrant to do, where they're living longer, they're living happier, they've got something to give, but we don't have enough channels in the school, in the city to do it.
That's
We'd
right.
like to channel them to your school. Number one, are you okay with this? Because I wouldn't want to do something that they're not okay with. And not all principals view things the same way. Not all principals like inviting the community into their school. Some tend to be parochial and close the door and that's it. Whatever happens in the campus, that's what it is. Others tend to be a little more open-minded and recognize that they're assets that benefit the school when they're brought in. So I don't want to speak for a principal. I would ask that. And then once they give you that yes or no, and then the capacity they can handle, I would shoot for whatever number they tell you and have that and reserve, which means have people that are trained and can be tapped on in case, for whatever reason, one of the targeted volunteers can't come, you have a substitute. Just like you would in teachers. If a teacher calls in sick, they don't leave the class without a teacher. They call a substitute.
Right.
So the idea is that you would always have somebody. If you say it's every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday at 11 o'clock, that if that person has a doctor's appointment or is sick, somebody's going to show up and be there for those children because it's the expectation of structure that is the most important thing.
Exactly.
So I would recommend ask the principal and then build a backup cadre to whatever number they tell you. So if it's 6, I would do two backups to the 6, so it's 8.
Right.
Okay, so then that would be our action item. I'll work with Leslie and reach out to the principals.
Yeah.
And then we'll report back on next meeting, yeah?
I know the biggest problem we're gonna face is that most of our senior population, they do not speak English. So the other alternative that we can have is having senior participating in the after-school program. So it's less academic, it's
Exactly.
more interacting with those kids, but it's another option that we can use, so to have them interacting.
Or they can be in a bilingual program. Because
Or
there
they
are
can-
classes
That's right.
where
that's
Spanish
right.
is required to be
Right.
spoken in the class.
Exactly.
Oh, there
They
you go.
speak Spanish. It'd be a perfect mix. I think the truth is, there's so much need, there's so many kids who need somebody to love them and to support them, that the issue isn't gonna be the need. I think the issue is going to be the school's capacity to be able to manage them effectively. That's always gonna be the issue. And I think if it goes well, I bet you the principal is gonna say, you know what, let's do more. Cause it worked out well, we've got it down, we can add more people into the mix. The beautiful would be if eventually every child has a match. That's the ideal,
That's
that
right.
every child has a match.
Right.
In Chicago, they have a what they call a senior match program, where the idea is that they have seniors come in, I think it's every other week, and they match up one senior to one child in the classroom, and they
Wow.
do intergenerational activities,
Wow.
which is a beautiful way to have children understand respect of authority and understand that generational thing that we tend to lose. Because even parents now are more like friends to their kids instead of parents. So the idea that you're creating this one-to-one match in an intergenerational setting, and what they do then is they teach them how to cook, they teach them how to sew, all the life skills that in a previous generation our parents would have taught us, they're using now in an intergenerational format. And it's a beautiful way to pass on a legacy. It's skills that we don't otherwise teach, but now the kids are getting to do it in a way that they come to respect and feel comfortable with people who are older. And it's a wonderful thing. And those are neighborhoods in Chicago where there's a greater diversity, far greater religious, cultural, and ethnic diversity in Chicago than we have here.
Good.
Do you need like an approval from our committee, or what do you think? Cause I know you're gonna go to neighborhoods when?
Neighborhoods is going, I think in April. I think it's April. I would want Leslie to make sure, because the education compact might need to be amended.
Okay.
To do this, and just to make sure that the principals are on board, so, I don't know
Are
if
you
you want me
going
to.
Are you going to the principals, or do you want us to go to the principals?
I'll let Chris Leslie.
I think
Yeah,
Leslie
Leslie is
manages
our
the
school
city's
rep.
compact with the school, so she already has an established relationship. I would probably, maybe we could schedule a meeting this week with Leslie to get everything on board, and then we can decide how to parcel it out. Because the key piece to me is, before we go too far planning, you wanna make sure that the school's on board and that they're okay with it.
Right.
Because it would be very disappointing to ask a senior
Right.
volunteer and then I
Right.
have no place to put them.
Right.
So,
Okay, so we'll wait until.
want me to set up a meeting, the three
Yeah,
of us?
That would be great.
I'll see if I can set it up for this week, so we can move forward, because I think it's a wonderful idea, and the good news is that you'd wanna do it now, so that you do the recruitment and the training over the summer,
Right.
so that as soon as school starts, you've got the cadre ready to go.
That's true.
I
So
mean,
that
just
would be
to,
perfect.
I mean, everybody likes the idea, right?
Yeah,
So, I
yeah,
mean,
Yes.
it's great.
So I mean, you could, when you announce it, because we might not have our senior affairs meeting until after the April meeting. But when you do present the item, just say you went to the senior affairs committee and they
We're on board.
they like the idea or whatever. Okay? Okay, great.
Great idea.
Great, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Maria. Okay.
Well, the
Moving
next
on.
item will be about the Atlantic Broadband.
No, the senior
the
senior
The
citizen.
senior
Oh,
citizen
sorry.
discount.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll give the update. I have great news, but it has to stay as a surprise. So I can't,
Yeah.
can't announce anything, so y'all are gonna have to trust me. For the beach chairs, you know,
Oh, that's
that's
great.
something's gonna happen in May.
Good.
So,
Good.
so that's that. And then, what's the other one? Oh, yeah, the Lincoln Road Association I spoke to the president, and he was very receptive to the idea. Obviously, it's not his decision, he'll have to go to his members' restaurants. And he said he would get back to me, for the following meeting. So what he has to do is like, what he was envisioning is like a day when, like a Monday or Tuesday,
Yeah, a slow
when
day.
they're not,
Yeah,
when they're not
yeah.
busy, for them to have a senior day discount. So.
Could be including the movies here. Just a week, yes. Just some
Yeah, but
city
the
has
problem with
it.
the movie
I think they already
theater,
get you a discount, no?
Yeah, they do have
No.
a senior discount.
No,
No?
not
Yeah.
in Miami Beach.
No?
At the Regal, I thought I saw
Regal.
one.
No.
No.
It's the city invite us
Yeah.
and pay
That's
for the
right.
movie,
That's
but we
right.
don't have any discount.
Not when you
Okay.
go to the-
No,
I mean, I'll ask him. I mean, they should be part of the Lincoln Road Association. no?
Probably,
that's
yeah.
right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, I didn't
That is a good
specifically
idea.
ask him
Some
for that.
some day of the week, like a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Well, it would be greater then, it could be the same day
And then
as,
you go
as
to
the
your
restaurant, so
restaurant,
you go and you
Yeah,
do
that's
restaurant, you eat it, or you go to the movie
That
and you
is
go
great.
eat.
What a great
You
idea.
combined it, so it would be a Tuesday on Lincoln Road.
with a couple of days.
The seniors of Miami Beach.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, so I'll ask him about the movie. I'll send him another
Yes.
email to
Yeah,
make sure
yeah,
that
yeah.
maybe that could also be included. So yeah, so that's that.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So now, let's go to the Atlantic Broadband.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Gloria is out of
Gloria.
town,
Yeah.
so she's not gonna be able to give us the background, so we're gonna have to move that to the following meeting. I'll just move that to the next.
I just wanted to add about that, that's,
Unless if
we
you
are
have.
concentrating in the people that already are living on the low income housing. But there are a lot of seniors that they are on the waiting list that they need those discounts. Let's say if they receive any type of assistance from Family of Children, Medicaid, stuff like that. I know AT&T has programs
Yeah,
that give
that's true.
discount for them, so why we don't look through Atlantic to find out those discount also for senior, not only the one that live at low income housing,
Did you-
but the one that are in the waiting list waiting to get a housing and they are.
Did you ask AT&T if they're coming into this area? Or
The problem that Atlantic has like.
is that they monopolize the
Exclusive.
Yes,
I know.
Exclusive. Exclusive is the,
Exclusive, that's right.
is
But,
the
but
terminology.
that's through the city, right? The city has given them
I
exclusivity.
really, I mean, I'll have
And
to
if-
I'll do some research maybe for our next committee and see if somebody else from the city can also come besides Gloria to talk about like,
Yeah, because they gave a discount, but just for the low income housing,
Mhm.
like 2-3 years ago when
The other mayor.
Philip.
Philip.
yeah,
Yeah.
see, that's what, since I wasn't involved, so I don't know, I didn't,
So-
that's why I wanted Gloria
It
to
was a
give the.
discount for the basic cable,
Mhm. Right.
and extended basic cable. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That
So
were
what
the
kind of
two
other discounts are they looking for?
Eh?
For phone or?
I have a discount of that. It's about
Yeah.
$12 or something.
Yeah, but you live in low income housing.
Yeah, yeah, in
Okay,
Federation.
what I'm trying to say is that there is a lot of people that are on the waiting list
Exactly,
to
I
get
understood.
into the waiting list, and they are paying market rents,
Right,
which for
right,
them is still harder
exactly.
to afford to pay.
Exactly.
So if we can extend to the people that are receiving some type of benefits, let's say Medicaid, SSI, stuff like that. So
Okay,
or Section 8.
That is good.
okay, so I'll try to find somebody to come and talk, besides Gloria, a little bit of the history of Atlantic Broadband for our
Maybe
next meeting.
maybe before that, find out what rates other competitors have for.
The problem that there is no
Again.
other competitor.
Right,
Exactly.
if you open it up to competition,
I know there's just, I don't know why, it's always been just Atlantic broadband, that's what I have to
well,
figure out.
there's some areas that, so when I was living in, Treasure Isle,
Yeah,
they
that's
have,
true.
they have a couple of options, I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't have to go with Atlantic Broadband, as a matter of fact, I went with AT&T.
But there's no options, right, on the beach, I don't
No,
know.
no,
No,
not
but
this
it-
part, not this
But
part.
if you open it up, I mean, maybe there's a restriction, that's why we need to
Yeah,
add
that's
that.
what we don't know,
We don't know if there's a
yeah, if
restriction
there's a
that
restriction.
Only
I
broad.
think
Atlantic
maybe
broadband.
because they have to put all the cable, all the stuff, and they are already
Exactly.
there. So that's our Atlantics own those.
Yeah, but in other
connections, stuff like
communities,
that.
they do it, and a lot of times, I mean, I know like some hot wires going into some buildings in some
Right.
neighborhoods where it was always Comcast or Xfinity, so.
Right,
I know that-
alright, we'll look into
Yeah.
that, or I'll try to get somebody knowledgeable on that to come to our next meeting.
Okay. Alright. Now is the update on the Hispanic Affairs Committee.
It's all you.
Well, good morning.
Good
Again,
morning.
Gabriel Paez, Hispanic Affairs Chair. Currently, I've been the chair for the past 3 months. Previous to that, I was the vice chair last year. I was appointed by Commissioner Mark Semelian. We are a board that are appointed by commissioners and the mayor. So I am representative of Commissioner Mark Semelian, and I've been there for 1 year and 3 months. Last year, we were led by Alex Fernandez as our chair. Under his leadership, he took the Hispanic Affairs Committee and made it a very active one. To me, what he taught me, even though I've been active in this, he taught me how to motion, how to be consistent, and be up to date with the agenda before the upcoming agenda, to see how it would what's being before the commissioners and the mayor, and how we can assist in or seeing if any items were of importance to Hispanic community. So he did leave us with that legacy, which is an important one, because things that are before the commission, there have been items that we have been motioned and supported. Most recently, we continue to be, and then this year he did transition. He went on to the Police Citizens Relations Committee, where he is now their chair there. Together, since he's left and I come on board, the Hispanic Affairs Committee, together with the LGBT Committee, are in process of creating a joint motion to the commission based on the continued allegations of the human rights ordinance by the Burger King on 11th and Washington. The Burger King on 11th and Washington, where has had allegations in the past and most recently about violating that ordinance. It is something that has come up to us. It is something of importance to us, and that's why we're in the process of creating
Is that
this
a
joint.
franchise?
Yes, it is. It is. We're in the process of really defining, is it or not, because some people say it is, and at least I haven't gotten a clear indication if they're franchise or if they're
A corporate owned.
corporate owned. So that's something that I to
'Cause
this.
I think at a corporate level, aren't they?
If it's to a corporate level, then we definitely can take it to a different level.
Yeah.
We can proceed, but first we need to go through the channels that we created, and so we're jointly working with those other two committees. Last year, the Hispanic Affairs also assisted Unidad a great deal. It is of utter significance to us that we take our Hispanic community and our elderly community more into it. So we did look out for Unidad, we did request funds, it was approved, we motioned, but we really are looking for all improvements of all our community. The Hispanics are the largest minority in Miami Beach. It's something that we do need to take consideration, and that's why we're out there looking and always trying to see how we can improve or how we can assist the community and the administration. We at the Hispanic Affairs Committee make ourselves available to co-partner with you in any need that you may have. I know you have a great liaison, you have a great commissioner who formed you, but if you need numbers, and that's where our unity comes into play and its importance in numbers, when we come together as one, please understand and know that the Hispanic Affairs Committee is willing to look at your item, entertain it, and if we can assist in any shape, fashion, or form, we will do it.
Great.
That commitment comes from me, it comes from our vice chair, from our liaison, and every member we have on that board.
Good.
It's a very diverse board. Our vice chair is Grace Calvani from the Latin Chamber,
Mm-hmm.
and our liaison is Leonor Hernandez. So all three of us and all seven of us are available at any time. It is an honor for me and a pleasure to sit here on this committee and see what great ideas are also being considered by you guys. And this one of the foster grandparents
Right.
is a fabulous one, and it's a great one that I welcome and encourage, because not only does it help it's a mutual partnership. It's going to help the elderly, it's going to help the child. And another one that I can toss maybe for those of you that may be more animal friendly, you can also consider one with animals and dogs and cats. So that also helps. Maybe the dogs or animals can come to your buildings, or can partner coming to, Rebecca Towers or Federation or any of those. But again, at the Hispanic Affairs Committee, we are committed to making ourselves busy. We have worked. Our biggest event that we have is the Hispanic Affairs Month, obviously. Last year we had a great show at the band show with Carlos Oliva and the Sobrinos del Juez. We look forward to this year's concert, Movie in the Park, all the events that we will brainstorm. It's an active committee. Most recently, there was questions if we can meet quarterly, or for us, it was of utter importance that we meet monthly. If not, sometimes we have to meet bi-weekly, because
Right.
when we're planning these events, for us, monthly meetings were just not enough. And we needed to make decisions on issues, and we wanted to be transparent. And if you're going to be transparent, you have to meet a lot, and you have to really be clear and upfront. So that was one of the things we took seriously and we met a lot last year as time got closer to the concert and to the events of that month. So this year, look forward to plenty of events. We invite you to all our events. They're all community active events. We partnered with the senior program, the dance program, the flamenco program, and the chorus.
And the chorus.
We did a Jose Marti Day together with the commissioner's office.
Exactly.
And hopefully we also look forward to not only being of one ethnicity, but we're also trying to consider, given that we have a bust of not only Marti, but one of Bolivar, Simon Bolivar.
That's right.
We should also acknowledge Simon Bolivar, and we may do a Simon Bolivar event. So there's plenty of events that are thinking. We're always again make ourselves available. We have changed our meeting times. Our meeting times are now the last Thursday of the month at 6 p.m.
Good.
We used to be the first Monday, but now we are the last Thursday of the month. So this is it the last Thursday or the first Thursday? Sorry, I think it's the first Thursday of the month. Sorry, because we wanted to continue being before the commission meeting, so we could review items that we had if there were any of importance, and we could pass it on to the second. So it is the first Thursday of the month. I stand corrected.
And we meet the last Monday of the month.
So we're kind of there, and together. And again, I look forward to serving with you folks here. And I look forward to you guys coming on to our meetings. If there's anything you want to bring before us,
That's right.
we are welcome, and we welcome that, and we anticipate a joint
PM.
partnership. Yes,
6 p.m.
First-
First Thursday.
yes, first Thursday of the
7
month.
p.m.
6.
Oh,
6.
Yes,
Six.
6 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's very good.
Any questions?
So clear. It's here, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
it's
in the
here.
small,
It's here.
and not in
I
this
know.
room. It's in the small
And
conference.
there's more conference.
But it is fourth floor, City Hall.
Yeah.
First Thursday of the month, 6 p.m. A small conference room of the
It's
manager's
more
office.
conference.
So,
Okay.
yeah, the last one, is something that Gabby brought to the table about, remember last meeting, she was talking about Stella Maris and the pedestrian crosswalk and crossing the street. We're just waiting on a staff member, I've already texted him that we're ready for him. That he's from transportation, so I wanted him to be here for him to see the videos.
Okay.
So let's just wait like 2 minutes.
Could I ask just a quick update on what is it? Is
Oh,
it
yeah,
traffic?
Can you just, since he wasn't here, can
Right.
you just repeat what you said last
Oh,
meeting?
there are cross for the people. Cross.
Crossing.
crosswalk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a kind of a difficult
Yeah.
angle
Uh-huh.
because of the way that it
Exactly.
curves,
Big curves,
and
right?
a lot of cars really don't see that curve coming,
Uh-huh. And
Uh,
the speed.
and they speed. You know,
Yeah.
so
So are you looking to put crosswalk? Are you looking to put like signs?
Mirrors or maybe
mirror
mirrors
something.
help.
There used to be there used to be a mirror a long time ago. I think I remember because I worked for Mount Sinai and always lived up north. There was on that corner there was a mirror that actually faced Stella Maris. That when you got out of the Stella Maris, you was looking at the mirror to see what cars are coming.
Okay.
So
And what about the crossing thing that you put the lights
well,
and
yeah,
everything?
that would be
That's
that
what
would be
he's coming
great.
to
yeah.
discuss.
That's what he's
Uh-huh.
going to discuss about maybe putting something like that.
Mhm.
You know, like a slow down.
A slow down, yeah,
or
before.
with someone's
Those blinking lights,
yeah.
yeah, the
Right,
grass
right,
and-
exactly.
And those are mandatory stops if somebody's on the
Exactly.
crosswalk.
Right.
Although that I've seen quite a bit of people just.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I
actually,
know.
yesterday I had one individual. We were crossing the street, and he gives us a wave, but he would not stop. He just like apologetically waved, to say that he's not stopping.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
You can see this picture here in the corner. You see the
Mhm.
Yeah.
this line, and the car has to stop. But when you're going to see the video, in the video, this line is far away to the people who cross. This is in Collins, in the bus stop. It's very far. The cars really didn't know the sign. There are one tree to cover the sign where it's a stop. They say stop for the
And the bus stops there too,
yeah. It's a,
where a lot of people just
the sign is
right
not
behind
good.
the.
So it's
Really,
quite
really bad.
busy
It's a-
intersection, yeah?
Yeah, it's not an
Yeah.
intersection.
Right, it's not an intersection,
But
but
it's
I
the curve, right? Because if the bus
There's
stops
a
there,
video if you wanna see it. Well,
And
I tried to
I
get
met
it here, but it
one lady who tried to cross in Collins. She left to the church and crossed Harding, and then when she tried to cross Collins, she has to run, and when she runs, she fell. And then the car stopped very close to her, but she broken her arm.
What's happening?
Yeah, because the sign is terrible.
Oh, it's loading.
There.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's
We have
unusual.
a special life for us.
Look, you can bigger there. Big one. Right there.
so there's the curve.
My first This is funding, no sign anything. And look at this, it's all the. No, the people have to run all the time.
People drive.
See, and then
And that's Harding?
yeah, and that's the bus stop right there. So people who are right behind the bus stop,
Mm-hmm.
what they do is just like,
I know where the bus
you know,
stop.
try to get into the other lane of traffic and then speed,
Right.
not knowing that there's somebody trying to cross.
I'm going to see the, I'm going to.
Harding is an intense street.
Well, especially that corner with,
We are
you know,
supposed to.
that curve.
That, you just had that curve and
Yeah.
you had a lot of,
They don't have.
And in the next corner, there are the exit for the, because there are a school. And the children either, no, in the next corner, there aren't any place.
for them to cross?
So, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Where is this?
Right?
What school?
You know, yeah, there are one is a school.
What school?
It's a Mater Academic.
Matter Academy.
Yeah, Mater Academic.
Next meeting. So.
So you're not in part of the seniors affair, right? Seniors in action? No. Y bendito seguro tampoco.
Yeah, eso sí.
No.
Eso sí.
Pero ese committee, ellos tienen meetings.
¿Ah?
Ellos tienen meetings.
No solo los miren, las actividades, los familiares, todo. Es mucho. No entiendo.
Te extrañamos.
Está en la ciudad, ¿cómo está? Oh, you're sitting there? Oh, I'm sorry.
Here.
Oh, okay, thank you.
How are you, dear?
Good.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome. How are you? Good to see
Por eso siempre lo tengo junto conmigo. Siempre lo tengo conmigo.
you. Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway.
Alright. So, hey,
Thank you.
I know.
at least you came.
You don't have those personal problems.
I know. Okay. So Gabby, do you just wanna, for the sake of transportation,
Okay.
repeat again, I'm sorry,
Ah,
the issue with Stella Maris and then maybe Stella Maris and then.
y no se puede ver, we can see the video?
No,
I saw
I
it.
don't-
I saw it.
Oh, yeah, I can forward it to.
Ah,
I
yeah.
saw the videos.
Well, you saw it, you know what we are talking about, right?
Yeah, just to give you some history, and I think Diana.
Do you wanna come to the table? I mean,
Sure.
And for the record, identify yourself please.
Sure. Josiel Fahed, Assistant Director, Transportation Department. Back in 2013, we had a very similar request that actually came from Commissioner Gongora's
I know.
office at that point.
I just don't remember what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, DOT at that point denied the request, citing some issues with geometrics as well as some issues with the volume of pedestrians crossing. As you know, Stella Maris is just ahead of a very sharp curve. So there were, FDOT cited some issues with visibility of drivers, of a pedestrian stepping out and a driver not seeing them clearly. The only recourse that we have in this case, this was back in 2013. A lot has changed since.
That's
There wasn't any development on the other side of Stella Maris, on the other side of Collins, that now that's starting. You have buildings on the other side. So a lot has changed. What I can do is I can start working with DOT again to send this request. We'll send it today. It's not something. Unfortunately, it's not something that's up to the city. Harding Avenue as well as Collins Avenue are state roads. So given that they're state roads, any jurisdiction over traffic operations, crosswalks, traffic lights are actually under the county, but traffic light, striping, signage, all that is under the state, under the federal, the Florida Department of Transportation. So in cases like this, we have to forward a request to them, and then they have a 90-day study period essentially in which they dispatch it to either a consultant or with in-house forces, and within 90 days they're supposed to get us a response. We can send that request today. I would tell you, and I like to manage expectations when it comes to situations like this. I would tell you my concerns. My concern, looking north of the driveway of Stella Maris, is pretty much a straightaway. A little bit south, you're in the middle of a sharp curve, so it also has to do with placement of any proposed crosswalk. Just north of Stella Maris, there is some bus stop, and there's a couple things there that also may inhibit a little bit of the visibility. And the other thing, which it's I wish I could change it, but it's part of the federal code, is in order for you to get a crosswalk, you need to have people jaywalking. So it kind of you understand where I'm coming from. So it is something that's not out of our control. It's a federal code that states it that way. But it is a little bit difficult for me and for you as residents and members of the committee to fathom that you need to have someone breaking the law and jaywalking in order for you to get a legal crosswalk. But unfortunately, that is the way
when you say that,
it is analyzed.
let me ask you a question. Sorry to interrupt, but when you say that you need to have them physically receive a ticket for jaywalking?
No, not physically receive a ticket. The way it works is engineers go out there, they count the amount of people jaywalking, and then if it meets a certain threshold, then they
have a surveyor sitting there for 8 hours looking at
exactly. Okay. Exactly.
It's unbelievable because in Bal Harbor, there are one special place that lies properly for the people, and there are only few people cross this way. And in this case, all the time, you stay Sunday when the church is in the mass.
And that was gonna be my next question to you. What is the top day that you guys see? I saw in the video a number of people coming into Stella Maris, and I'm assuming had crossed the street. What is the peak day that people cross the street here?
Well, I mean, it's hard for us to say. I mean, I will tell you that I drive Collins from Aventura, or actually from Hollywood now, to Mount Sinai, and a lot of times I see people just trying to cross the street.
What I was wondering is if there is a day where a destination is activated on the other side that makes people cross more, where I can specifically tell DOT, look, this is the day that you guys should send someone out there because this is the day.
I would say during the morning hours. I see it during the morning hours to the afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
By around 5 o'clock.
The students cross too.
Okay.
Excuse me through the chat. Is there any way we could claim safety issues?
That's the first thing that we
This is what I'm listening to. It's like it doesn't matter if it's you're crossing, you're jaywalking, you're elderly, you're a student, the speed that you have a straightaway. Speed is a factor, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you have people already crossing in speed. When you combine those, safety is an issue.
Safety is an issue. So the way that these requests come from, or the way that we craft these requests is, there are various things that are going to be a factor. Elderly pedestrians, young pedestrians. The fact that there is a destination on the other side, which is the beach, which is the biggest destination that we have in this entire city. As well as this is an area that is known for high speeds, 3 lanes, heading in a single direction. It tends to be high speed. So that's sort of how the request will happen. I wanted to get as much specific information as possible so I can throw in the request. But I think the idea that I want you to take from this is that this is not something that, us the city can go out there and, with a
I'll give you
roll
another
in a
one.
bucket and stripe the crosswalk. It's something that, the state needs to follow their process.
I'll give you another one that I've encountered frequently, and that is like at the 3:30, 4 o'clock hour when the construction workers are
Okay.
getting onto their buses or they're crossing the street to get to their car wherever they're parked.
Okay.
I've encountered those.
Okay.
And I
So-
think the school didn't exist in 2013.
The Catholic school,
The Matter Academy.
the Matter Academy. No, that one did not exist.
Right, so maybe.
No, those are all factors. Those are all factors. I think it's the right time to study it. I think, typically we study things in 3-year cycles. So if we studied it in 2013, 2016, we could have studied it again. We're in 2019. All right, so it's that cycle. We can definitely send this to FDOT, and we will request that they expedite as well. We will request, sensitivity with this, which is important. And then from there on, it's a 90-day period for them to study it, and we will get back to you with whatever the results are.
And then when you exit to go to the Harding, the curve, you can to see the cars who's
Oh,
coming.
right, there was
Then
a,
we need the mirrors to.
Yeah, the mirrors. I saw the request. The mirrors are not installed in the street. It's not an approved treatment for on street. It's something that will need to be installed on the private property. I know a lot
Yeah,
of
that's what I
condos have
thought,
it.
like-
It's on the street is not, and the reason has to do with liability.
I remember a
Objects
long
in the
time ago
mirror.
there used to be one on that curb on the corner across the street. There
Yeah,
used to be,
and most likely installed on private property where
Yeah.
but the issue, they're not approved for use in the public property. I've visited Stella Maris in my tenure with the city, I want to say over 10 times. One of the important things as well, and I know that the way the walls look, at least the walls directly next to the exit are lower, a little bit lower. I mean, I'm nobody to tell a private entity what to do, but I think perhaps taking a look at lowering that wall just a little bit more, a little bit further would be better, or doing a small demolition and angling the wall in order to open up the site visibility, at least on one side. You don't need it on the other side, to be honest with you, and bringing the wall sort of at an angle in so that it can open up the cone of visibility in that direction. That would certainly work much better. But the mirror, unfortunately, is not an option in the public right of way. That would need to be a private right of way thing, something that they install within Stella Maris's property, and that reflects or that shows the image of the street. I don't know if we have any more
Okay.
questions.
any more questions? All right, so then you'll get back to us,
Yeah,
like
I'll get
maybe,
back to you. We'll send this today,
okay,
and we'll put it on our calendars to start requesting updates at the 60-day and then at the 90-day. As soon as we get a response, we'll come back to the committee through Diana and report on the findings.
There is also in Collins Avenue, in the same area, there are one sign which says stop crosswalk and
Yeah.
the station, but it's invisible because it's covered by the tree. And then,
Do you know exactly what location it is?
yeah, it's in the 65.
65?
No, but sorry, 85.
85?
The bus station. Bus
Okay.
station.
85 in Collins?
Yes.
Just so you know.
I met one person who tried to walk quickly and she fell and broken her arms.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know,
And the sign on the street is very clear. We can see the
Okay.
driver can see
okay,
properly.
I'll report that to DOT. Just so you guys know, in that area, I think 87th, I'm not sure on 85, I would have to look back, but FDOT had approved the installation of some flashing beacons, overhead flashing beacons to help with the crossing, to make drivers more aware that someone is crossing because it's a wide street and people can get lost a little bit, particularly when you have a lot of lanes heading in the same direction.
There's a signal at 85th and Collins. So we might be talking about the one that's close to 87.
87, yeah,
That's right.
that's the one.
And the bus stop?
Yeah, yeah, that's the one. There exactly, DOT had approved the flashing beacons. Well, I know that it was a little bit further out in the years, but it is something that the city had actually put some funding down in order to advance that project, and we're just starting to get we're just starting to start letting out the design now. So it's gonna be a little bit of time, but there is an improvement that's coming along there. In the meantime, we will report to DOT maintenance to come in, improve the signage as well as restripe the
It's very
crosswalk.
important to,
Definitely.
yeah, the people around, I mean, it's very.
Understood 100%. Understood 100%. So like I said, we'll send this out today, we'll start tracking it and hopefully we get a positive response out of this.
Thank
you very much, thank you very much for having us. And I apologize for the tardiness, I had another emergency.
Okay, thank you.
Well, for the next meeting, we'd like to know if there is any topics that you want to be included in the agenda. And then,
Next meeting is when?
April 29.
April 29th,
When is it? April?
April 29.
9:30.
Maybe some of the members of the community here, do y'all have any suggestions? Nothing for right now?
I do have a
Diana,
Yeah,
maybe for the Stella Maris problem, we asked for help from the police department in this area, no?
I mean,
For the speed, no.
Well,
I don't know, we can always-
they usually,
they're there.
yes.
I mean, I can request police
They
to
love
start monitoring. I'll request police to start
monitoring.
Thank you. Speak today. That area more. I can put that request into the police department.
Okay.
Anything else for the agenda for next time?
Let me ask you a question. I think I was told that before the city had a department that took care of the condominium, seniors issue with the condominium. That was,
There used to be what was called a condominium ombudsman, and now that there's not a position. They eliminated that position. And also now, I think the one that sort of was taking care of the condo, is no longer with the city too.
because I know a lot of seniors having problem that, the price are going up. Those associations are raising the
Yeah, I get those calls too.
so are raising the rates, and the senior live on the social security income, so I already met people that they are losing the apartment because the association is taking away.
Well, it's not only the monthly fees, but it's also the special assessments that when an elderly, the decoupage, for example, we're not on our first special assessment, now we're on our second special assessment. So it's a compounding, special assessment, and it does impact the seniors that live there because they're mainly on a fixed income and
In the building where I live now, there was a special assessment, there was a reserve.
yes.
Just in the first quarter of the year, special assessment, reserve, they went out with the impact windows. And now they are replacing, I don't know what, so there is no stop.
Right.
They're looking for to make the building in
That means
in
that you
where?
hit the 40-year.
Yeah,
40 years.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, there's not a lot of options to move to another location. Let's say you want to, at the decoupage,
I decided to move to a building next door. And I find out when I got there that the association name is the same. I moved there thinking that
the grass is greener.
it's gonna be less. Before the closing, I find out that they are raising twice the association because they are doing the same over there.
Right, that's what it is.
And so
Maybe
I
we
have
can
to-
do something, does Unidad still have the pro legal?
Yeah, we still have. The only thing is like it has diminished. So what we do is we referring. If we have more than 10, they come over. If it's less than 10,
So maybe
you
we
know,
can do like sponsored by the Hispanic Affairs Committee and the Senior Affairs Committee. We could do like a condo workshop, you know,
Oh, yeah, we can-
like the ABCs of condo
Yeah, I met
living
a
or
Russian
something.
lady that she's losing an apartment that she paid on cash when she came here, and she's losing an apartment because she cannot afford the association fee that every
So,
goes up and up.
so I'll work with you maybe and we can do something.
yeah, I like that.
Um,
Now
Can you
that
send me whatever you
Yeah.
for us to?
now that I'm sorry, but what's happening with MBDC? Because
I
a
mean,
lot of seniors are calling me and they're worried. They're you know because
What is
they
that?
took over
yeah.
Miami Beach Development
Development
Corporation.
I would have
They
to
sold
get,
it because I'm trying to reach the executive director, but you know,
Right.
he's never around. Call
I
him.
can get somebody to come and update us because it is a little
Yeah.
complicated. I remember it was discussed at the commission meeting one time. So I would have to go back and see who was in charge of that item.
I
And I'll
heard they
have
sold
them
the
come.
building for
I'm
that.
part of the Affordable Housing Committee. One of the members over there is now the director of the board. I think there is a new board there. They
Yeah,
are looking for a director.
Yeah, because
So, but particularly what is going on inside.
yeah,
That's the only information.
and
Okay.
that I
nobody
can
gives you
share.
no information, and that's the problem.
That's the
They're everybody's scared to talk.
all right, I'll get somebody to give us an update on that. Anything else?
Yes, I went to put in my calendar the meetings, and I see that in May we have a meeting scheduled for
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, yes. So my calendar say Memorial Day.
It is?
So, yes. So,
That's how dedicated we are.
right.
Remember the bingo, that's the
So we'll have to move that one to.
Yes, we're gonna have to
Let's go ahead and move that. I'll send a calendar invite to move that to May 20th. Okay?
I do have one
Thank
remark.
you. May 20th instead of the 27th.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
So Pride is next week? No, the following week on the 7th. And last year we had a lot of seniors come out and they were on our float. We have Mount Sinai has an antique fire truck. So if you know some seniors that want to participate, they want to be on in the parade, let me know.
Do you have a flyer?
I don't have. I'm just putting it out there to you guys.
Because we're not.
The 7th.
Well, for sure,
April
I
7th.
think Bernie would wanna do it.
Yeah. So and they can ride on the antique fire truck, as long as they can climb. But we had some people that actually
It's Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah. Well, I mean it's Pride week, but Sunday is the
April 7th, right? Or
April
6th?
7th.
April 7th.
Yeah.
What time?
It's from 12. So, but we the parade starts at 12. You have to be there a little early. So.
And where does it take you?
Ocean
Ocean
Drive.
Drive.
Right.
Drive 15.
What I'll do is if you guys have anybody that is interested, we'll send them exactly where we're meeting. And you just let them know to meet. I'll be there, Regina will be there, and just look for the Mount Sinai banner.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay. All right, now we have to close.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure that's your favorite part, right?
See you again.
Bye, Carolina.
Bye,
Share, Carolina. To love me. To help me.
To support you.
She got a good one, so I think so. I'm not gonna say you know, it's not.
Oh, your daughter.
You're the person.
How old is
Pero también,